So today, well, I said today, probably going to post this later, but the deck that I have recently been working on is what I have been calling ill-tempered tokens. This is a list I actually came up with a few days back, and I just never got around to recording a video with it. And I actually haven't really been playing Arena much at all. Just had a hectic week, but want to get back into recording, want to get back into streaming. Going to kick it off with recording a video with this deck. To kick it off, let's go ahead and just go through the list here real quick and just kind of give an idea of what the deck is about for those that probably don't see it just yet, mostly because people don't usually play this guy. So this wasn't a pet card until recently. There was some chat in the Discord about comboing with this card, and I kind of went a different direction with it. But basically what Ill-Tempered Loner is whenever on the front side, so the day side, whenever Ill-Tempered Loner is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target. Pretty cut and dry. I don't know how many people were playing back in the day of Boros Reckoner, but this is kind of the same vibes, and I decided to build something around that concept. So on the night side is when things get spicy. So Halpak Avenger, which is the night side, whenever a permanent you control is dealt damage, Halpak Avenger deals that much damage to any target. So the front side's cool just because of, by itself, as a standalone, it can do some stuff. It can be a pretty good attacker and a pretty good blocker. Now, that's not the situation we want to be in. Ideally, we want to go ahead and actually get it flipped. Because once we get over to night side and we get this bad boy flipped, that turns on all of our creatures as a potential threat. So what are those creatures? Well, I decided to build it around a sort of token shell. So we've got Resolute Reinforcements, just a value creature, flash it in into turn, get a couple bodies, maybe do a couple points of damage, but again, not the primary goal. The deck is sort of built to be a sort of tokens beatdown, as we can call it a primary goal, but it's more or less our secondary goal. Because our real goal is to really get Ill-Tempered Loner online and do some damage. Now, we'll get into that. You probably see it now that you know what the Ill-Tempered Loner does. But we also have Valorous Stance. That's really just for security. It's an insurance policy, really, because we're trying to either protect our Ill-Tempered Loner. Potentially, we may want to protect a Devilish Valet, but that's not going to come up as often as you might think. At least not in the matches I played prior, though. I'm going into a fresh set of matches. I did do a set of 7 when I first built this deck. Went 6-1, again, in Mythic. So 6-1 in Mythic. It did go up against one mono black deck, and it did steamroll it, which I didn't expect. And so yeah, that's why I decided I was going to make a video with it. So join the dance, just another token generator. Wedding announcement, because if you're running white, why not run Wedding Announcement? It's just too good of a card to not run. Now, I am only running 3 copies of it, and I may change that, especially because Rabble Rousing, still not sure on. Now, if you don't know what Rabble Rousing does, because you may not have seen it too often in Standard, it is one of that cycle, the Hideaway cycle, Hideaway 5, and whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures, create that many 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Then if you control 10 or more creatures, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Have I gotten it to go off? No. Have I used it and has it saved my butt? Yes. No. Again, not a card I was terribly impressed with. It seemed very situational. So that may potentially be a card I go down on. Now, I'm not going to cut it entirely, but I could see probably running 2 or 3 instead of the full set of 4. Again, it does synergize with our token strategy and Devilish Valet, which, again, if you don't know, trample, haste, 3-drop, 1/3, alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, I cannot read today. Double Devilish Val. Why is that a tongue twister? Double Devilishes Val. Double. I hate myself. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, double Devilish Valet's power until end of turn. So that was really the key thing, is we would love to have a Rabble Rousing to really make Devilish Valet get huge. Resolute Reinforcements gives it another little boost sometimes. King Darien gives it a higher base power just because it is an Anthem effect. And we can save our tokens with King Darien. But the real goal behind Devilish Valet is it's more of just a bluff. So yes, we can have situations where Devilish Valet is going to do some cool stuff with like Join the Dance or something like that, but at the end of the day, it's just something we use to psych the opponent out into using removal on. And if they have it, it's a cut down target, which also, saves potentially King Darien from a cut down if it comes down later. It eats Infernal Grasp, it eats whatever removal they may have, so that way we can resolve a 4-drop. So our Ill-Tempered Loner, like I said, we want to keep that alive because that's our spicy creature, that's what makes everything happen. Fleetfoot Dancer is just a great card. I think it's underplayed, just because obviously with Sheoldred on such a dominating force in the meta right now, it's bigger, it does more, but in a lot of circumstances, a Fleetfoot Dancer as just the 4/4, they don't have any of that stuff. Trample, Lifelink, Haste. Life gain in this current meta is super, super relevant. So many games that I've seen come down to almost exact damage, that having just this little bit of life, even if you only get one attack off of it, it can go a long way. So this was a card I really like, and if anything, I would consider maybe another copy of it, but just with how it's performed so far, I see one pretty regularly, and I've been very happy with how it's performed. That being said, our other strategy, like I said with Ill-Tempered Loner, we have 6 copies of Damage Sweepers. I say Damage Sweepers because obviously it's not a traditional sweeper. It's just damage across the board. So burn down the house, 5 damage across the board. Or you can make tokens. That can be good because that might actually be relevant to your strategy, where if you end up with a couple copies of Burn Down the House in hand, you may either use it as a reset button if you're falling a little behind, or you may use it as tokens for something like Devilish Valet, or even an impromptu removal just because the devil tokens do 1 damage to any target when they die. So there's some options. It's a utility card, but at the end of the day, this and Temporal Firestorm, same basic idea, 5 damage to the board. If you have 3 or 4 bodies on the board and one of those happens to be a flipped Ill-Tempered Loner, even if it's not, you're getting 5 damage to the face the moment you cast one of these, as long as that sticks. So in my initial playtesting, there were situations where, it ended up being 20 to 30 plus damage out of nowhere. They're tapped down, they're playing an aggro-y deck like Mono Black or something like that. Next thing they know, Burn Down the House. I think it was 3 devils on board and an Ill-Tempered. Each of those already does 1 damage by itself. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20 points of damage plus the 3, 23. You can do a lot of damage out of nowhere. Now, the biggest problem right now with the meta is mana bases can be a little wonky. So I prioritized white in this specific situation because most of our early drops are going to be white, red, or green. Splashing a little bit of green because Join the Dance is not necessarily something we have to play right away. King Darien is nice, but since I'm only running 2 copies of it, it's not something where I felt the need that I have to have green right away. So I am only running, 3, 4, 8, and 12 sources of green. And I did try to keep the pains down to a minimum because in playtesting with plenty of other janky decks, I have come to the conclusion that pain lands are a trap. They are nice for mana fixing because you see it and you're like, it's an untapped land, I get my mana. But you can take a lot of damage very easily off those pain lands if you're not careful. So I went with the just generic, I want white mana, so I have the plains. And I have the Windscarred Crag because, again, life gain is relevant. Sundown Pass because we always want to make sure we hit our white. And then just enough sources of green that if we need it, we usually hit it. I have been in situations where I have had to sit a couple of turns to try and wait for, a red or a green. It's not super common, and it's not usually something that happens like to where it's game breaking, where you just fall so far behind. And like I said, I did go 6-1 on my initial play testing of it, so I was surprised at how well it did, because usually when I throw together jank, does not go that way. And so yeah, that is the deck. That was a lot longer than I anticipated to go over it, but as Matthew McConaughey would say, alright, 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 let's go ahead and get into some matches. Helps to actually have the correct deck set up here. So, and again, I haven't really played a lot of Standard or really any Magic in like the last week. I've played a few matches, but we'll see what happens. So this I already like, because we have the Ill-Tempered Loner, we have green, we have white, we have red. Now we are going to want to hit one of those field wipes at some point. But I think just with the token generation, we may have enough just to kind of stall for a little while. And again, it depends on what he's playing, so I think we'll keep it and see what happens. Because we already have double red. And sometimes that can be difficult to hit. But again, not too frequently. I didn't talk about Boseiju, but I did opt to have a single copy of it because there are so many enchantments in the meta that sometimes this can be relevant. So I often will sit on a Boseiju a little bit longer than I should. Again, it just depends. Like, that could be a potential Boseiju target. Probably not, though. We'll just make him think that I'm just a basic Boros deck right now. I also do like to keep on full control because I like to make them think that I always have something. And then they realize, hey, maybe he's just on full control. Well, that's still less information for them. So right now it looks like this is a Grixis list. Fable is not that big of a deal. And that's the beauty of this deck, too, is generally speaking, unless they're hard aggro, we can generally just kind of hang out and stall for a while. And they're not going to usually do too much. And since we don't really have a turn 3 per se... I don't think we're going to play the Join the Dance, because we may end up wanting to hold up Boseiju for the Mirror Breaker, but I don't want to ramp the opponent either. That's tough. Let me think about Fable and Grixis, though. What are potential targets that could be a problem? If they get a Harvester, is that a problem? It could be with the Ill-Tempered Loner. Yeah, I think we're holding on to our Boseiju just in case. No attacks. Because if he attacks with the Goblin, he'll ramp, but as long as he doesn't play another creature, maybe we can get in for a couple points of damage. Tapped land is always nice to see. Doesn't matter, though, because he's going to have 4 available. I'm not going to be blocking that. Like I said, I was at 22 because of Windscarred Crag, so it's not the worst. And if he decides he wants to counter something like this, that is fine. Okay, he's got something because there was a priority stick. So another thing we need to be mindful of is the fact that that's really good. The real problem is he can meat hook for 3 here very easily. He can actually meat hook up to 4 next turn, or 5 actually if he land drops. So we need to be mindful of that. So I think for starters, we're going to go in for 4. This may end up being a token beats. We're going to play... I want to play the loner so bad. But I think what we end up doing here is maybe a join the dance and then bait out a meat hook. Is that what we're doing? I don't like that either, because then he gets the free fable. I'm gonna make him have the meat hook or a counter. Actually, he could just have a counter. We're just not gonna play anything. And I also just realized I can't actually channel the Boseiju right now, so that's always fun. But like I said, you do run into situations where maybe you want the green and you don't have it, but it's super rare. And right now, like I said, the actual Fable is not a threat. Because if he copies the Goblin Shaman, okay, it's whatever, but if he copies something like a Blood Tithe Harvester, then we have a problem. And the other thing I'm considering too, yeah, see, he's gonna have the meat hook. It was pretty obvious. Not a problem. Back to 20 for him. Matches like this are always going to be tough. And this is when we probably consider just going ahead and doing this now. This match is not in our favor. I'll say that now. It's just unfortunate because you have to assume he has both removal and counter magic. Because, I mean, it's Grixis. He has access to a lot of really good cards. Yeah, he's going to copy the reflection, and I'm going to take 4. That's fine. There is a world where we may just Firestorm just to reset, or try to. But I think we would want to wait until the Bankbuster makes its token. So the other question is, do we do that? Because then he gains... You know what? I'm okay with this. He has a ton of mana to work with, though. I am definitely fighting an uphill battle here. Eats my reinforcements. So this makes me wonder... I mean, Corpse Appraiser is going to be in every Grixis list, but is he running Evelyn? It's possible. But, like I've seen with so many of the Grixis lists, it's usually going to be Solkanar. It's not going to be an Evelyn. I just think Solkanar is just so much better. I mean, Evelyn's pretty good too, but I think Solkanar is just like the flavor of the month right now. Taking a lot of damage here. There's another green, all late. But it could matter. Is there a world here where we go ahead and drop Ill-Tempered Loner and join the dance? 2, 3. I could Ill-Tempered Loner and join the dance, but I think he just if I play this, he just counters it, right? I don't even think there's a world where we can even win the attrition war. I mean, he's got 6 cards. I've got 4. One of them's a land. Alright, let's see if we can jam up the board. I'm guessing probably not. He's got to have the counter for it, or the removal. Like I said, though, this is not a favorable matchup for us. And if he kills the ill-tempered loner, I may just scoop. Because I mean, he was already super far ahead of me right out of the gate. Knowing he had the meat hook, it was just too obvious. And for the record, Grixis is just a really, really good deck. I just think it's underplayed. Because everyone loves to jam mono black and all the other degenerate decks that are performing really well. And the make disappear. That actually isn't the worst scenario. So I am going to take some damage, but getting the counter and the removal out of him may be okay. I don't know what he's thinking about. The only thing he can do is crew the Bank Buster. Is that what he's going to do? Just for shits and giggles? So I'm taking 5, but you know what he's probably going to do is he's going to make a copy of the Corpse Appraiser, eat it, and then draw more cards. Yeah, I just lost this game. There's nothing I can do, because that Corpse Appraiser and the Reflection is just going to eat me alive. So let's just go on to the next one. Watch, I had such a good run with it when I first made it, and now I'm probably going to end up having a horrible run. But it really does come down to what kind of matchups we get. Grixis is just so stacked against us, there's really nothing we can do. I like Resolute Reinforcements, and I like that into King Darien. I think we keep this. I don't like... I will say... Excuse me. One of the main problems that we're definitely going to have here is that being on the draw is horrible for us. And I think in most situations, it is just horrible for us. In most decks. It's never a good thing to be on the draw. Because it's such an aggressive meta right now, and then that one turn difference, like, see, that's just already horrible for me. It's actually not that horrible. I can kill it, but I have to wait. It slows me down a turn because we're gonna Valorous stance it, but it does slow me down. Oh, it's awkward. I will say, though, running Rafine out immediately is a very aggressive strategy. Unless he has a backup, which also wouldn't surprise me. But at that point, then we can set up for a Temporal Firestorm. What in the hell is he playing? Okay. Another Temporal Firestorm is awkward. Is it Devilish Valet here because we care the least about it? Probably. No attacks. I have not seen a Cobbled Lancer in Standard. I don't even know if I really even saw it in Alchemy when they messed with it. At this point, I don't even know what I'm playing against. It's obviously jank, but what kind of jank? What the hell is this? Is just like graveyard value? It looks like it. I mean, I'm okay with that. He's not going to attack into my one-powered creatures? But it's such a good thing to do. Obviously, we're going to save Boseiju here. We're going to throw down a King Darien. So the real question is, does he want to save it? Or kill it? Okay. I mean, this is what I expect. Now, the next question becomes, do we let him have the card draw? I am inclined to say no. May have been a world there where we may have also attacked with our token, maybe? Actually, probably just the Resolute Reinforcements itself, because we can't save that. But again, the goal is to try and jam through as much damage as we can, just early on. Okay. It's a weird thing to do. See if he's got another one. Okay. Well, definitely not going to do it this turn then. This is really awkward. Having those two temporal firestorms is not in the spot we want to be in. Let's see, it would cost 7 to do it that way. So no. Cancel. I don't think this is great for either of us. We're both in a weird spot. It looks like he's flooding out, and I too am also flooding out. Oh my goodness. I mean, there is a world where we could push through 2 damage, save the King Darien. That just feels bad, right? He's not doing anything, so why would we? It's just a game of draw-go. Oh my goodness. Alright. I guess it's just going to be a game of who gets what they need first. And it's usually not me, but that's always fun. This is ridiculous. Okay. Is there a world where we do Resolute Reinforcements just to, after combat or on their turn, to try and push 2 damage through because they don't know I have a replacement? Maybe. But I'm still gonna not do it, because what if he has like a meat hook or something? Oh man, this is ridiculous. We are both flooding. Creature on the battlefield. What, King Darien? Okay. I mean, I would still double block, which is what I would do anyways. So this has got to be some sort of weird value type deck. So I guess there's a world where maybe he's not running Meat Hook. In which case, let's just do it. And then if it bites me, it bites me. I'm okay with that. Magic, ladies and gentlemen. Magic. Magic the freaking Gathering. It's ridiculous. You know, there's going to end up being a world where I do just say, screw it, and I just firestorm the board. But I'm going to do that. Should I just shove through damage? He would block 2. He's going to take 4. Nah, we can wait a little bit longer. There's not any kind of pressing matter to go on push through damage. I mean, he's got 3 cards, I've got 3 cards. We're both not doing anything. Effectively, I have done more in the last 5 turns than I think he has. I'm gonna drop another one. Are you gonna do something about this one? Oh, that's a good one. But that is also a really, really good target to steal. But all but king. Wandering Emperor? I feel like if he had Wandering Emperor, he would have played it, because why would he use it on a token, you know? Yeah, we'll just sack it, unfortunately. Alright, so that was his hand. It was a whole lot of removal. Interesting. So he's gonna still take 4 here. In retrospect, there was probably a world where we just went ahead and sacked the king to Firestorm, maybe. That probably would have been better. But I'm greedy, and I want to use the Firestorm to do the thing. But what I may do is I may still just use it and use it on the Resolute Reinforcements to reset my own board. Devilish Valet. Probably has the counterspell, right? It's until my turn, right? Yeah, that's what phasing is, duh. I didn't know if it was a blink or if it's an actual phase effect. I never really read the card, and I've never used the kicker, so... don't know. What does this do? Disturb. Let's see. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of an enchanted creature. Except it's... oh, interesting. So that's interesting, because we can do this. And he didn't have anything, so I guess we'll just do this. And then he's got to have the removal, right? And he didn't, so there you go. Sometimes Valet does what it needs to do. Could I have played that one differently? Probably. That was a really, really awkward match all the way through. He wasn't doing anything, I wasn't doing anything, and he definitely technically had better cards, but I think his game plan was so reliant on having other creatures on the board, and it didn't help that the one creature he had that wasn't his little zombie was a legendary, so copying that is not very good. On to the next one. I am just never going to be on the play. I would love to showcase a game where I'm on the play. This is still good, though. Oh, crap. Please don't be... Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. If he's aggro, we'll have bodies to just try and jam up the board just to make the attacks, like... I mean, they'll still be good attacks. I'll just have chumps. Okay, is it a burn deck? Would like to draw an untapped land, technically. But the question is if he's not doing anything here... I mean, life gain's always nice, so... And then he's gonna play... Kumano on turn 3. What? He must have just drawn it. So I think Wedding Announcement's just better, right? Just gonna go face. If I resolve a Fleetfoot, he just loses, right? Assuming it lives. Oh no, a 2/2 Phoenix chick. So I think what we will probably end up doing on this turn, that's good too. We're definitely dropping this. So it's got to be the Fleetfoot Dancer, but I'm thinking about if I'm going to end up attacking with everything or not, because I don't think the card draw is that relevant. I think having the additional body, because he's going to have Kumano, and that just dissuades the attack. The card draw could be interesting, though, because let me think. Because then I just have a net even. Nah, I think we'll just attack with the Fleetfoot. Having more bodies on the board is going to be more relevant later, because he's going to have mostly ground creatures. And I'd like to have my defenses up for a little bit. Unless he has 2 play with fire, he's not doing anything about Fleetfoot this turn. And the beauty is if I need to, I can burn down the house to reset his board, and that puts him way farther behind than it puts me. And I would 100%... Would I double? Probably not. As he has to go sideways. No blocks. As long as we're just staying above burn range, we're okay. And we're going to have some big old tokens next turn. Will I be doing the thing? Potentially. I may not, to be completely honest. It's probably going to end up being just King Darien here. And just have a double Anthem. Okay. And then a play with fire. Okay. I mean, that's really good, but I feel like he may have wanted to wait until I declared attacks on that, because now I'm 100% not attacking. I say that, but I think we'll attack with 1. And then we'll have another body on the board. He's got 2 cards. Reinforced Ronin does nothing. Alright. I'm not blocking with King. is still not good. Okay, so we're in a weird spot. Because I can't burn down the house, and if he draws a burn spell, it is not good. Is it the Devilish Valet? Because how big would that get? Yeah, a Devilish Valet is not the worst thing. I do like the Ill-Tempered Loner here, though, too, because it's a 4/4. We hit the mana. But this has haste. So let me think. 6, 9, 10, 11. Not enough. So we'll just play this. We know we're not attacking with, or blocking with King. Hope it's not the burn spell. That's scary, though. Could still very much lose this. He would block this and then still take 9, 10, 11. He's just dead either way, right? Yeah, he's just dead. I don't know why I'm overthinking it, but that last turn was scary because I didn't know what he was going to draw. He was dead either way because there's another 2 damage that I'm going to do to face, so... I just don't think he realized he knew he was dead either way. Because it was kind of dependent on the valet. Anyways, on to the next one. I will say that last one could have easily gone either way. Because him having what he needed to be able to remove my Fleetfoot, that's usually not the case. So that was pretty terrifying. So we are on the play, but this is a really clunky hand, right? We still keep it, though. If we lose, we lose. The reset's about to happen here in a couple of days anyways, so might as well just have fun, right? Uh-oh. Is it mono black? I think it's mono black. So this is interesting because there's an argument to be had for... If he's going to use his turn for that, do we use the reinforcements to just double up? But if he has the cut down, then I just get blown out, right? So yeah, we just take. And if he wants to use the cut down now, I'm okay with that. And he definitely has the cut down because it's holding priority. But here's the fun part, is because I'm going to drop the Devilish Valet, and he's going to be like, oh, I've got to kill it. Because that is the mindset of mono black. No hesitation. Didn't even let me attack with it. He just was like, it has to die. There was literally no way of it pumping up, but he still went for it. That is the beauty. But it did exactly what it's supposed to do, and if he uses his mana to do that, I'm okay with that too. Am I behind? Technically, yes. Do I have a million Join the Dances in my hand? Yes. Let's just go ahead and get in for 2 more. And then there's a world where we're probably going to start chump blocking, but he's probably going to just drop a meat hook for 1, right? I guess we'll see, because he may actually want to go ahead and pump the Evolve Sleeper to get it to a 4-4 and a card draw, in which case I would chump block. So, definitely not a meat hook, because he would have done it. Him getting free card draw is a little annoying, though. Probably should have dropped a land first. He's got another cut down? He has to, because that's the way he's holding priority. Oh, no, you know what? He could technically still use that, the 1. We'll just do this. He's going to have to meat hook at some point, right? He could also be digging for a meat hook. He doesn't attack. Interesting. So I will say... okay, that's funny. Do we want to save that, though, for a Sheoldred? If we hit the land, I guess it doesn't really matter. Just keep going sideways. You got it. You can block a 1-1. Have at it. And the other reason, too, is we want to keep turning sideways is because if he does get the meat hook, I mean, at the very least, we beat him down a little bit instead of just him getting free life out of the deal, right? Oh, no blitz. Please? Sheoldred. Liliana's also really bad here, too. Oh, what do you know? It's a Liliana. I am so surprised. He is really incentivizing me to go ahead and burn down the house, though, if I hit that land. Because I can rebuild my board pretty easily. Well, there's the land. A little awkward, but... So I think what we're doing here, could put through 2 damage to the Liliana, and then it would go to 3 the next turn. Yeah, I still think we're just shoving through all the damage into the face, because then they'll go to 5. I hate having to get rid of the rabble-rousing, though. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Unless, of course, he's like, well, maybe I'm not going to do anything. Because he's building a wall. And I don't think he realizes is I'm going to obliterate that wall. That's annoying, because that does kind of slow me down. Hopefully he doesn't have another. But I think if he had another, he would have played it already, right? I sack a creature. Sir, are you okay? And then you come at me for 5. Potentially 6. He doesn't attack? What is happening? So this is interesting. I mean, no matter how you look at it, I have to burn down the house, so... And then... he blitzes. He invokes. That hurts. Good old standard mono black things. Gotta do this now because he's gonna probably have another cemetery trespasser. This is not looking good for us. That Invoke Despair, knowing he probably has another one now because that's how mono black works. They Invoke Despair into Invoke Despair every single game. But he didn't do it. Interesting. And we just do this, right? And just win? Okay, he has instant speed removal. Cut down's a little awkward because obviously now he goes to 1. Okay. Where's your Invoke Despair, sir? Sir, you didn't draw 4 of them? Isn't that how Mono Black's supposed to work? You're supposed to chain Lilies and Invoke Despairs? Unstoppable shoulders and everything? Oh no. Oh no. He didn't do it. He didn't do the thing that he's supposed to do. It's the Mono Black thing. Alright. Whatever. I'm cool with it. I don't even know how many matches that's been, like 4? And we'll play one more. I suppose my MTG assistant would show me exactly how many I've played while we're waiting for the next one. Let me take a look over here. I think it was 4. I don't really keep track when I'm doing this. Games. Let's see. Okay, so this is actually game number 5. I am on the play. I do have stuff I will keep. This is basically just a stall hand. I mean, it could also just be a hard aggro, because, I mean, it depends on what he's playing. We are not going to show him green yet. So what could he play? Okay, Thalia is just, I mean, it's annoying, but I'm okay. Do we join the dance? And then the next turn... Yeah, I think we can do that. Because I'm not attacking this turn anyways. No attacks. It's also super awkward because if Thalia attacks, I have to block with like 3 things to kill it, but I will. I 100% will. So he's kind of setting it up to where I will probably... I mean, I'm in a better spot than he is, so I can always Temporal Firestorm and save all of my tokens. So that's not the worst, but I'm still not in a spot where I can attack. So I think here he might Brutal Cathar. That's annoying. He still can attack, though. Okay, well, you know what? We'll just make tokens. Never stop making tokens. This may very well end up being a game where we sit and we wait for our ill-tempered. Now he's going to attack. Because he wants his Edgar to die. We're going to take the Edgar. Do we block with King? I don't think we use the King just in case. So you know what? We're going to block with that because that's more useless. Indestructible. Yeah, that's fine. Valorous stance is not bad. So I think there's a world. I mean, we want to see what he's going to do. Because the problem is he's going to end up making vampires. We don't want that. Oh, that's not good. I'm going to take a shit ton. That doesn't bother me. One, two, three, four, five, six. I will take 6 just off of the board wipe. Yeah, I don't have a choice. Zach. Hello, Pain. Oh, come on. I just don't think he does, though. Yeah. Braids is not bad, but we want this down. Of course he has another Thalia. Attacks are still awkward. He's gonna sack a token. No, he doesn't. It's a little awkward. I think we still play it though. It is a good Thalia blocker. And he's back. I mean, I could see him attacking with Edgar. There's not really a reason not to. So the question is, do I want to grab a couple of these vampires for free? Maybe. Go ahead and make more tokens. Then he drops another Edgar. That would suck. That is annoying because I do need my land. Yeah, you can draw a card. It's gonna hurt. It is gonna hurt. Okay, now I don't care about the land. I do take a point of damage here if I do this. That sucks, but what are you gonna do? This attacks for sure. This. I feel like I'm setting myself up for a loss here if I go too crazy. We'd still have 3 blockers. Okay, we won't go too crazy. I'll keep... Rousing is interesting. It just sucks because everything costs 6. But we can sacrifice our Carplucin because we're 100% not using it. Oh crap, what did he draw? Sheoldred. What a nice top deck. What a very nice top deck. I'm curious because what did I draw? What would I have drawn here? It's a creature, that's why. Yeah, I was dead either way. He got lucky because I think we would have stalled out here because if it was anything but Sheoldred, we were fine because we could have like burned down the house. In fact, if he didn't have Sheoldred. And then, how would we have wanted to play that one? It'd be like 3. This would go 4, 8, 12. We'd have to throw everything at this, and then he dies. So yeah, if it was anything but Sheoldred, we would have won. Isn't that lovely? Anything but Sheoldred. But hey, it happens. So yeah, overall, it's a fun deck. Like I said, it works. And in a spot like that, like I said, that was just... A lot of that was because, like I said, we ended up with the Carplucin situation where we ended up taking all of that damage that was self-inflicted. I don't like Painlands. I have been playing with them since they were first a thing, like years and years and years and years ago. Again, I've been playing for like 25 years, but I don't like them. But that's why I tried to keep it to a minimum. I have 2 in the deck. How many did I draw? I drew 2 of them. So I would have preferred an Overgrown Farmland, the Jetmirs earlier, the Seiju even. Any of that would have been infinitely better. I ended up having to take about 6, I think. 6 self-inflicted, which means I would have still been alive on the Sheoldred and I could have just stabilized. So Painlands they're a trap. I don't think they're good, and I honestly think I'm gonna cut them and actually favor the Rockfall. I just think it's better, and it'll be a little bit different too when we get the rest of the cycle stuff, because we are still missing color combinations, and even with the Painlands we're missing color combinations. But this, I just don't like it. I would cut that and probably go with 2 more Rockfall Veils. I mean, it's awkward, but it just feels better. Maybe even another Boseiju. I don't know, or just basic Forest. I just don't like it. Or even maybe one of these. The Life Stain's always nice. I don't know. Either way, like I said, it did well. Out of those, 5 that I played, I lost 2 of them. So, and I was on the draw for pretty much every game, so that wasn't too bad. Anyways, hope you liked it. Check it out, or try it out, I should say. It's a fun deck to play. I enjoy playing it over all the meta crap that's going around right now. I know everyone's playing like Bant and all that stuff now that it's popular. And also Rite of Harmony in the Enchantments deck, now that we've learned that it is a very good card and it is actually infinitely better than Showdown of the Skalds. Enchantment decks are out here literally drawing their entire deck, so give that a shot too if you're interested, but everyone's playing it, so you're not going to be alone. With this, it's unique, it's different, it's fun. Check it out. Anyways, thanks for checking it out, and y'all take care.